Hey everybody, welcome to the 1804 show, chapter 2. I'm your host, Dollar Will, and this is another episode of 1804 History. Yeah, just wanted to thank everybody for supporting me, tuning in, liking, sharing, commenting your thoughts and stuff like that. So tonight I wanted to talk about a tragic incident that happened April 1st, 1984. And, what can you say about this tragic situation except a famous soul singer, a legend in music, dies before his 50th birthday? So, and not only that he dies, but he is murdered by his own father. And it just, in our communities, we don't take abuse seriously, or depression, mental health, addiction, any of that seriously. So we have to come to grips with these type of things. And I would say, as far as Marvin Sr., um, I'm being really careful with this because I don't talk about dead people like that, but he was a horrible person. Just with killing your son, killing one of your kids. And we sit back and we think that our family members don't be jealous of us, but they do. And they always say family be the first ones to get you before anybody else gets you. So you just never know who's your enemy and stuff. So we just have to keep in mind that the people that love us or that we love don't love us back the same way. But I would say just for Marvin Gaye Jr. and everything, like his music will always be timeless. His music was phenomenal. And just the fact that he was willing to stand up for his music with his record label. Everybody don't understand just the sacrifice that he made for the album was going on. Because before that album, there was no Motown album that was relatable. I mean, you have like the classic songs, like from the Supremes and the Temptations, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, stuff like that. But he took a stand just with that album because it was anti-war. It was the Vietnam War at that time. So the record label was like, "What are you doing putting this out here? We don't do this type of stuff. We do love songs." And Marvin wanted to talk about real life issues, politics, anti-war, and a whole bunch of stuff. So he just said, if I don't put this album out, then I'm not going on tour. I'm not doing no shows. I'm not doing any performances. So he pretty much boycotted Motown in order to get his music played and get that particular album out. So eventually it worked and becoming his most successful album of all time. Just with what's going on and Inner City Blues and Oh Mercy, Mercy Me and all the classic songs off that album really talked about real life issues and just really one of the greatest albums of all time. But I'm not here to judge anybody. That's not my place. I'm not God. I'm just a man with my own problems. But, you know, there's no secret that he had a cocaine addiction or anything like that. It's no secret that he was addicted to cocaine and he was drinking a lot. He was depressed, womanizer, whatever you would like to call him or label him. But to me, I just feel like he was way beyond his time and way ahead of his current um, era as far as artists goes because he just had a vision to just impact the world and just do his thing. So it just was like, a lot. It's just when you don't have love, when you don't get or receive love from your parent, you become the very thing that you hate. And he grew up, very talented, very gifted musician, but as far as being just a productive citizen and stuff, he struggled with a whole lot. And it wasn't no secret. But his final years was very horrible and very traumatic and going through bankruptcy, being broke, being arrested for income tax evasion, but he fled to Belgium to get away from everything. He actually lived on the beach for a year. Then he came back and recorded Midnight Love and produced Sexual Healing and had the biggest comeback in R&B history. And just when things was on the up and up, it didn't work out like that. So that's why he moved back at home with his parents, the same house that he bought them. But it was just pretty bad because it was just turmoil. And a lot of times we don't like to go back and visit our past, but we do eventually. And him being back home with his parents brought out a whole lot of childhood traumas that he never healed from. So, of course, it was conflict. Of course, it was fights. Of course, it was tension in the air. And I don't condone anybody stroking their parents or nothing like that or being disrespectful, but it just comes a time where you have to stand up to the person that has been bullying you. And a lot of times our parents could be our first bullies because we don't acknowledge narcissistic abuse. And his father was a total narcissist. His father was very toxic, a hypocrite, being a preacher and then um, a cross dresser, you know, living a double life. And Marvin really didn't like the fact that his father was a hypocrite and they never saw eye to eye. There's interviews of Marvin and his father. You can see Marvin crossing his arms and crossing his legs because he didn't feel guarded, he didn't feel protected. He felt something was going to happen and he just wanted to die. He wanted to just be dead. And he really tried to kill himself before this incident happened by jumping out of a moving car, all types of stuff. And he just was paranoid. He really felt like somebody was out to get him and wouldn't leave his room for days. So it was really like a bad incident altogether because the person that he never would have thought that was going to take him out was the person that he had bought the murder weapon months later, well, months ago for Christmas. And it was just one of the most painful things that you can imagine. Like, but I can go by my own accounts with my dad, my biological father. My stepfather loved me, he took care of me. May he rest in peace. But my biological father never wanted me. He never raised me like that. He didn't want anything to do with me. And I can say, just as far as I was the only one out of his children that respected him, that loved him, that was willing to do anything for him. I was the one that forgave him for abandoning us and stuff like that. And this man really tried to manipulate me and turn me against my mother and all types of stuff. So I can really relate. That's why I decided to do this topic and do this story because it really resonates with me. Just how a father can be jealous of their own child. And the goal for any parent is for their children to be better than you or to become bigger than you because you did your job. But some parents see you as a threat or see you as competition or see you as the enemy. And it comes a time where you have to stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for your honor and get your respect. And you just have those toxic parents who would never see you as an adult. They would still treat you as a kid, no matter if you 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. To them, it's like, I own you. Now, we all heard the phrase, like, I brought you into this world, I will take you out. But that's horrible. That's a horrible saying to tell a child, to tell your kid that you would kill your kid if they ever disrespect you or ever stand up to you and all this type of stuff. Like, that was a situation waiting to happen. But that day, um, Marvin was in his room and his dad came to his mom about some insurance papers. What kind of papers? I have no idea. I heard it was either foreclosed notice or whatever. But he was very highly upset, and he came to Marvin's mother's room arguing with her about these papers. And Marvin told him, "You need to leave my mother alone," and stuff. So that was blowed over. So again, they started to argue again about the same thing. And this time, Marvin challenged his dad, was like, "I told you, leave my mother the fuck alone." And then he came at her, I guess slapped her or whatever. And then Marvin came and punched his dad in the face, and they had a little scuffle. Marvin started punching and kicking his father until his father left the room. So all of this happened around like after 12 or whatever. So 30 some minutes go by, and then it's just Marvin and his mom together. And their dad come back with the same gun that Marvin bought him for Christmas, and he shot him in the heart. and then shoot him 2 more times. So the mom leaves to go find Marvin's little brother to tell him and his wife what happened. So they all go into the house and they see Marvin on the floor bleeding out. And he just asks them, like, what happened? What's going on? And the last words of Marvin Gaye before he passes away was like, I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it. So I wanted him to do it. And so Marvin dies. And it's sad. And then the trial happens, and he pretty much, using every loophole, every excuse in the book to get out of prison time. At first, they said that he had a brain aneurysm, and then also they said that he was insane, that he did it out of passion or something like that. So he ended up avoiding jail time. He gets a 6-year sentence plus 5 months of probation for killing his son. And the judge asked, did you love your son? And he was like, well, I didn't dislike him. Man, you can't make this shit up. But the point that I'm trying to make is that family was so toxic, and whatever their system or how they ran shit, it wasn't right. It wasn't healthy. It was bound to happen. Something bad was bound to happen. And I just feel like therapy should have had been into play with this situation before it went down the drain, before it went to hell. Um, then also, it just, as much as you are wounded, there's no way out for certain people. Well, everything that I like talk about just on the show is real life. I don't talk about no fairy tale stuff. And this almost happened to me. If I didn't realize who I was and how strong I was as an individual, that's real. A lot of people don't know what I've been through, but I have been through a lot. I've been through certain things that would have had took me out, but I just kept on going. I kept on fighting for a better life, and I just wanted to just help people and do better, and not fall victim to my own traumas or pain. And we just don't know how many tortured souls that lives among us, and we have to come to an impasse and come to a sense of accountability amongst ourselves and realize that, dang, like, I gotta do something, I gotta fix something, I gotta do better, I gotta seek help. So it's just sometimes it's just, it just starts with looking yourself in the mirror and being wise and being an adult. But it's just unfortunate because he would have turned 50 years old the next day. He would have been 50 years old. So just a horrible situation. And I just try to, like, learn from the past, just certain people, and people I know, people I don't know. But it's just unfortunate that this happened. And we can all just learn from other people's mishaps and incidents as human beings. But rest in peace to both of them. Like I said, I'm not the type to judge anybody or talk about the dead like that, but it's just a horrible situation, and that's the end of this video. Just wanted to thank everybody who tuned in, thank everybody who watched. Um, Subscribe to the YouTube channel, the 1804 Show, Chapter 2. If you want to donate to my Cash App, $, the 1804 Show. And again, thank y'all for your support, your love, everything. I'm out. Peace.